Good afternoon and welcome to 3C TV News with Leanne Carpenter and Jack Cheeseman.
Today's top stories. We take a look at the rising unemployment rate of young people.
And the latest cuts to be hitting our county with reductions in our emergency services. Also, is our favourite talent competition hitting the headlines for all the wrong reasons?
But first, we've been having a closer look at the economy and how hard the recession is hitting young people. With students and graduates facing the highest unemployment rate in 20 years, Andrea Alexandru went back to university to find out more.
The number of jobless young people has risen to over 1 million according to the latest official statistics. At the same time, students need a job more than ever. One of the results of the current squeeze is that young people are choosing to work in different fields than their degree or to move to the opposite part of the country for a job. We talked to a graduate about the problem.
I studied drama at University of Worcester. I work in London as an au pair. I got there through a friend who worked there before me, and I replaced her. I had to leave Worcester because I couldn't get a job. I didn't have too many opportunities in what I studied, and it was tough. So I decided to leave Worcester to find something in London.
Brendan Barber, TUC General Secretary, said the number of 18 to 24 years old out of work is now higher than at any point during the recession. This means youth unemployment has reached 19%, almost double the national rate for adults.
The situation with the work is very dull at the moment, unfortunately. Whether you're in Canterbury or you're in Essex, even in London it's affecting it now. 16 to 18-year-olds I definitely feel have got a hardship this year. I mean, they really aren't getting the help they need with CVs or getting anywhere or the experience that they need. Between 18 and 20, there's a lot of jobs out there for the market, but obviously, as I say again, they need to be pushing themselves. 50% of graduates are studying anything. Over the last 2 years, I would say it's become very difficult. You need to be studying what you're actually going into business for. I believe the government is not helping anybody in the employment, whether it's graduates, especially 16 to 24-year-olds. I think they're really being pushed out.
Many are now asking whether youngsters will need to find alternative ways of making money until the economic situation gets better.
And we join Andrea now. What have you found out from the students and graduates there today?
Earlier today, I went to the graduation ceremony at Canterbury Cathedral and I had the chance to discuss with a group of graduates. They say there are a few who already work in the field, but the majority of them have no clue what they will do after finishing university.
Do you think it will improve in the near future?
Well, with the states of unemployment as it is and the fear of a double-dip recession, it doesn't look promising, especially for the ones who cannot find a job related with their field.
Andrea reporting from Canterbury High Street. Kent Fire and Rescue have been the latest service hit by the recession. The government has warned of cuts and has made public its plans to close 8 fire stations in our county. But what impact will this have on the city? Simon Banks has the latest.
Emergency services have been the latest area to be affected by government cuts, with plans to close 8 stations across Kent and only open 4 new full-time stations. Storey Fire Station is among those facing the axe. This has unsettled residents of nearby Canterbury.
Seriously concerned that it's the bottom end of the services where they're most needed that are being cut as opposed to the top end.
I don't see the logic behind it. Why?
If it means an extra 5 or 10 minutes, that could mean a difference between someone living and someone dying. That wouldn't be acceptable.
With its neighbour station closing, Canterbury Fire and Rescue Service will have their work cut out for them.
The way they've worked it out is that they feel that those stations aren't really earning their keep, as it were. The amount of incidents that they attend can be normally covered by other full-time stations. So it will mean a little bit more work for us, yes.
Kent Fire and Rescue Service has been told to expect major cuts in the region of £12 million, with possible further reductions in equipment and the number of fire engines, replacing them with 4x4s and smaller vehicles.
good to have that sort of equipment as an extra, as an add-on, because certainly for us here in Canterbury, the surrounding areas are fairly rural, and if we do get a call into the middle of the woodland, then that sort of vehicle, that sort of equipment would be handy, but I think you always need the basic fire engine to deal with the majority of the incidents.
Kent Fire and Rescue Service Chief Executive Anne Millington has said that no firefighters will be made to take redundancy and instead be offered alternatives. It won't be long until these new plans are published, but for now, only time will tell for Kent's Fire and Rescue Services. Simon Banks, 3CTV News.
And Simon's with us now. So, Simon, what's the public's reaction to this news?
Well, Leanne, the majority of people are quite unhappy with this news, and it's not understandable. It is understandable. With Canterbury's 2 neighbour stations closing, it has to stretch its services to the likes of Surrey and further. And it goes without saying that this is going to affect the employees at these stations and the people living in these areas.
Okay, thank you very much.
A reminder of today's headlines. Unemployment amongst young people is still on the rise.
And fire services across Kent are feeling the effects as the spending axe falls. Still to come, we hear the public's reaction to this year's X Factor and whether real musicians are still interested in auditioning.
Yes, once again our Saturday nights have been reunited with X Factor. More scandalous than ever, the reports of bullying, drugs and fixed voting, is this glorified game show really benefiting the music industry? Chloe Wallace finds out.
The X Factor is back. Bigger and bolder than ever. But is this good news for everyone?
I think the X Factor is brilliant. It gives people an opportunity to broadcast their talents to the nation. It gives them an instant recognition. They become famous. It gives them opportunities that they've never had before.
Encouraging viewers to vote every week to save their favourite, it's argued that the X Factor has become more of a popularity contest rather than basing the acts on talent.
Alright, good evening. You're still listening to CSR with me, Dan Oldfield, here on the evening, here until 9 o'clock.
Local radio DJ Dan doesn't see the X Factor as a threat to the music industry.
By a band that I really like at the moment. I actually really enjoy the X Factor. I probably shouldn't say that, but I do. But I don't think it's because of the music, not at all. I think that the show has now become a popularity contest. I think it's a bit like Big Brother in that respect. So I don't think that it's affecting the music industry too much, because everyone that watches it knows what to expect, and they know that they're not really serious artists because they don't necessarily write their own songs.
With popular music store HMV continuing to stock the latest X Factor singles, it's hard to escape the show's ever-growing merchandise, with even your food reminding you. For some, music is more than just a weekly claim to fame, with Canterbury being host to many young, talented performers. Jonas has been busking for over a year now.
Someone will come up to me and be like, you should audition for X Factor, and that's sort of quite sad, I think, because I think that's what music has become. It's become, you know, not wow, you're good, you know, go for it. It's become, yeah, you're good, that you could sell yourself out on a corporate show type thing.
With X Factor not everyone's cup of tea, live music venues will continue.
That's all we have time for today.
Goodbye.
Was that okay?
Because someone